harvest, drying, and curing, those are processes that need to be done after the plant is done growing. You've harvested it, and then you need to move on to dry and cure. What ways do you kind of keep it cheap with those processes?
Yeah. So listen, I once helped a friend. This was many years ago. He did an outdoor grow, and he had 11 pounds of medicine to trim. And he was like, "We're going to hand trim it." I go, "Are you crazy? Oh, that's a lot." I said, "I'll help you," but I'm like, man, I'm going to take shifts and I got to take breaks, and hand trimming is by far the cheapest way. But with a bad back, hand trimming is not always a thing. So what I did, I waited, obviously, till 420, and I got a sale on, many websites sell them, but here in town at many of the local grow shops, they had trimming machines. They were either crazy expensive tumbler cool thing, like these barrels that would turn, and then they had some of these tabletop ones, and they had ones that were like the bowl trimmer that you hand crank, that's got fingers and it does it, but they're automated. And I was looking at those and I go, man, this sure would save my back. I go, whoa, $1,400 for a tabletop trimmer? I go, no way. So I went home, I started Googling, and I found a brand that was, it was a Chinese brand that was not, like, it had no name of the company. It was just this trimmer, and it was $200 and some on sale at 420. So I'm like, I got to do this. And that's what I started doing, just to save the back, because I can't hand trim, just not possible. So I bought these, but now listen, these things are very poor quality at this very, bargain price. But being handy, it was like thin tin metal for the legs. And sure enough, the welds broke on the 6 hours in or whatever. So it was like, man. But got a piece of metal, put it in there, redid it, and it still works to this day. I got to pick it up and put it on these little shit. But that handiness came in handy. So, and again, like, what are you going to do when it's that cheap? Like, I got both trimmers. I call them stage 1 and stage 2. First one is a tabletop with, it's just fins, and you just run it over and take all the big fan leaves off. And then that sort of automatic bowl 8-inch or 10-inch tumble weaver. I don't even know what to call it. It's not a tumbler, because those ones are like the barrel tumblers, and they're super expensive. But I got them both for under the same price as locally of a brand name sort of trimmer. So that not off brand sometimes is there, but you're going to have to deal with the quality. So I did that, and listen, that was the best deal that I got for that, because hand trimming wasn't possible. Now I get into, then drying. Well, drying, I got these, I don't have space. So when you don't have space, you got to do what you got to do. So you get those accordion herb dryers off of Amazon is what they call them. And they're just 10 inches wide. They go down into a small thing. That was the cheapest way I could store it and still not have half my basement full of the plants from the thing, right? So I did that, and then curing again into reusable jars that I have, and sometimes we use it for peppers and stuff in the summer from our garden, and I would reuse those mason jars. Somebody's like, it's gonna taste like peppers. No, it didn't. We cleaned it out. It was fine. And again, just reuse the stuff that I have. But recently, I've switched my thinking on this. So this is where people are gonna be on the fence whether this is indeed cheap or not. And I can tell you, to start off, it wasn't cheap. So I got into live rosin as my best way to consume my medicine. Why? It's the cleanest, the tastiest, it's whatever. But to buy that from one of the Ontario stores here, and man, it was anywhere from $60 to $80 for one little small, gram of this stuff. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to do the process myself. So I invested some money into a freeze dryer, and this by far is not cheap. It's about $4,000. How can you say this is cheap? Well, I then talked to my wife. I had to talk her into letting me buy it first. She then didn't kick me out of the house, because that was her first idea. Second idea was, we're going to start and I say her because it was not we, a freeze-dried candy business. And I bought the freeze dryer. It went to her business. She now is going to write off that freeze dryer. And she has been selling freeze-dried candies and making a ton of money. Now, it's worth its effort, it's whatever, but that subsidized the cost of getting the freeze dryer so that I can use it for my medicine and still be able to get it in there. So again, right off of the machine, great. Could have written off the machine as a process and doing content here on the 420 Things channel, but I couldn't have started any sort of business with it here in Canada. So the candy business, man, it's multi-purpose, right? You get something for one thing and use it for two others, and you're saving money. Yes, it's going to cost you a little bit, but man, at $60 to $80 per unit, I'm going to save money in the long run because I go through it quite fast. So guess what? $80, every couple times it adds up. So at the first year of her business in the freeze dryer, she looks like she's going to be able to make some money off of it. Whether we get into the red or green, who knows? But it's more than what we had. So again, it is that process. But washing it with the ice and the water, it's clean. I know what I'm getting. So that's worth a little bit extra to me. So again, while it's not cheap, it sort of is, because now it's paying for itself with the candy.
Yeah, I've been watching your stories on Instagram showing your updates on the freeze-dried candy and that you went to your local farmer's market or whatever and selling them and stuff. And it's been really cool to kind of follow along and see, the progress you've been making there and seeing how you used it multi-purpose, use it not just for freeze-drying your own product, but using it for candies as well and then selling it. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, man, it is, and we got into a couple stores now. We had to get health inspected and all that stuff, right? So it's up. There is some process. I had to pay for insurance, and so there was extra cost on top of it. Where I go, it's a little bit more. But again, my wife is going out meeting people and talking to people, and again, getting out in the community. Man, it is fun. And again, candy is my kids love it, and we can use fruit. I'm gonna so we have probably 3 rows of jalapenos. We love jalapenos here, so we always pickle them at the end of the year. Freeze dryer now. I'm not only gonna pickle. I'm gonna try to freeze dried jalapenos, because apparently they come out once you freeze dry them, bring them back out, rehydrate them. They're just like new, right off of the stalk. So again, I'm like, wow, that's kind of cool. Another thing I didn't know that. So yeah, again, savings.
This clip is brought to you by AC Infinity. Use discount code MrGrow15 to save on any of their products.